my buddy Jason Carey on. Man, he was awesome. I mean, I can't thank him enough for spending his money, his time, everything that he's done to, to serve the Alliance team. And I'm especially grateful for him to come spend his time before he flies back to California to spend time with you guys on my conference call, because he could be doing anybody else's conference call, but he's here with me. And so, Jason, you got the rest of the time, dude, so rock and roll. Pretend my group is your group. Don't hold anything back, which I know you don't. And, you were awesome last night. I do have him on recording from last night and yesterday's boot camp. So I'll try to share that with you as well. He was incredible, gang. The boot camp rocked. I mean, man, he got into everybody's heads. He kind of opened their brains and did the little tweak with the screwdriver, got people kind of moving forward, thinking different. Just incredible. So I just can't wait to unleash him on you. Jason, you out there?
I am. Alex, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you fine. I'm going to mute out, and I'll unmute if I need to, but I'm going to mute out, man. I'm going to turn over to you, brother. Thank you so much. We love you and Tani. We can't wait to see you at the national conference, and or sooner. I think sooner, because we're going to be on the October West Coast swing. So I can't wait to see you guys in a few weeks.
No, I'm fired up. And Alex, man, thank you for inviting me on the call. It's been, I can say, like last night, it was really surreal. It was it was almost kind of like unnerving in a way, because here 11 years I've been with the company. 11 years I've been with the Alliance family, and 11 years I've been sitting in my chair, staring up at Patrick, staring up at you, Alex, my heroes, and there you guys are, like you're in the room, staring and watching. I'm like, I gotta get Alex up here talking. And it just felt so surreal being up there, and then like during like the night out, and all eyes are like, it felt weird, and quite honestly, it felt a little unnerving sitting at the night owl, and everyone's looking at me, and then I'm like, do they know? Do they even know? Like these guys they're looking at me, and they're asking me questions, but yet there's Alex right behind them, and Patrick Connor's right behind them. Like, do they even know how much I looked up to these two men for 11 years? So it just felt. It's hard to describe that feeling, where you're sitting there and you're being watched by your mentors, by the people that you respect. 11 years, my wife Tani, we've been with the company, and we were laughing about this last night. I was, after we did the Cincinnati meeting, and I'm back in the hotel room, and I'm talking with my wife Tani, and I apologize for my voice. After this is officially day 4 now, and yes, Alex is right. I was in Chicago on day 1 with Stephen Davies, and we did two meetings on Chicago. We had a Spanish meeting during the daytime, and then we went over and did the regular meeting at night, and then we went over to Indianapolis on Tuesday, Cincinnati yesterday. So yeah, this is day 4, and my voice is definitely starting to feel it. And now and if Andy was listening, Andy Albright would probably be laughing and going, "See, I told you, you're gonna need some lemon drops. You're gonna need some throat coat." I remember him giving that teaching the other week, going, "You need to get yourself some throat coat when you talk to a lot of people." I'm like, oh man, he was right. My voice is sounding like garbage right now. But so I'm in the hotel room, and I'm talking with my wife Tani, and I go. And I start telling her what I was sharing with Cincinnati, and she goes, "You know what? I never thought of that," as we were just laughing. And I was telling a lot of guys in Cincinnati, going, "You know what? To be honest with you," because people always ask me like, "Man, how did you know? Like, what made you just really, just take off and just start believing in the company and stuff?" And sometimes I don't know really how to answer that question, and it finally dawned on me why it's been always so hard for me to answer that question, because in the first couple of months, I'm not even sure if I even knew the name of the company. I mean, on the West Coast has always been kind of like the outpost. All I knew is a guy by the name of Jim hired me. All I knew, so as far as I knew, I was working for Jim. I didn't even really know the name of the company when I started 11 years ago. I was just writing business, on the weekends, because it was a way to make some extra money. And while I was working as a loan officer, as a mortgage broker, and as far as I knew, I mean, I went to the website NAA Leads. It didn't dawn on me that Leads stands for leadership, as in leading as a company, like it's leading the way. I just thought it was like NAA Leads, as in leads that you buy. So as far as I was concerned, I was like, I don't know who NAA is, NAA, but obviously they got some good leads. But I work for Jim, I guess. Like it didn't dawn on me like even the name of the company. There was just families that needed to be helped, and there was money to be made, and it was working. It was working. It wasn't until maybe like 2 months into, I go, I wonder what NAA stands for. And I finally started getting on some conference calls and starting to kind of clue in. And I'll tell you something else that also didn't dawn on me back in 2006. I mean, it didn't really dawn on me until really almost kind of recently. As I really think about it, as like I knew, like I learned that NAA got started in 2002, but heck, it didn't even dawn on me that really what my wife and I, what we were getting into was actually with a startup company, and really for the most part, we still really are kind of a startup company. But in 2006, we started April 2006. The company wasn't even around a full 4 years yet. We were part of a startup company, and you know what? We could have cared less. Tawny goes, I was talking with Tawny, Alex, and she goes, you know what, you're right. And she starts laughing. She goes, I never thought of that. Like it didn't dawn on us. It didn't occur to us. We could have, and guess what? And had we known we were part of a startup company, we wouldn't have cared. I mean, I didn't even care what the name was. I just knew that those people that needed help, and I had a strong desire, a strong need to go provide for my family. I mean, people go, what's your why? I'm like, I don't know really what to tell you. And then I've always had a strong need to want to provide for my family. And this gave me a way to provide for my family. And I cannot tell you how much it meant to me the very first time I went to my very first summer conference in 2006, to be sitting during that dinner time and watching Alex Abuyuan give testimony about where he was at in life, how he was scraping change off the sink, praying for an opportunity, praying for a change, praying for a wall to come down when he finally gets the call. And hearing that testimony, where he was at, what he went through, what he overcame, hearing that story, that it was those stories, Alex, that I feel so incredibly indebted to men like you, Patrick Connors, Stephen Davies, Fitz, Andy, telling those stories. At that moment, this went to something that I was just doing to make some money for a company that I didn't even know what an acronym meant. It went from that to the first time that was the very first moment I started to fall in love with the company. Like it started right there with those leaders, and I started to fall in love with the leaders. I started to fall in love with Patrick Connors and with Alex Abuyuan. I started to fall in love with these men, and I just wanted and I would sit back in my chair and I would kind of squint my eyes a little bit, I would picture myself being where they were at. And I found myself just wanting to be respected by these men that I respected up on stage. At that moment, the alliance became real for me. At that moment, the dreaming that Alex was sharing with you about, like going to New York, that stuff became real to me, because before that, all I could think about was making the rent. All I could think about was making sure there was money in the bank to go buy some food. But it went from that to something much greater in an instant. In an instant, things started changing. And when you start seeing far beyond just the most basic necessity, when you start really believing that this is for you, that this is something that you can do, that this could be a calling, that this can actually, for the first time, lead you to something greater. That finally, for the first time, like, I'm not sure if anyone else does this, but I would drive down the street and I would look at these buildings with names on these buildings, and look at the little mom and pop businesses, and look at the restaurants with people, their names on their restaurant, going, how did they do it? How did they get their name on a building? How did they get their name on a restaurant? And I had no clue. I had no clue. My mama raised me, and she did, and she really did. She really did the best she could. My dad was a wild stallion. He was kind of in and out. My mom raised me. She worked as a janitor. I thought we were middle class. It wasn't until I went to college and I started like filling in the financial aid and actually figuring out what her income was that I realized that, oh man, janitors don't make that much. My God, we're not middle class at all. And for the first time, and I remember feeling so bad too when I finally realized that, going to college, and all of a sudden this compassion and embarrassment came over. Not embarrassment over where I was at, embarrassment that I didn't realize what my mom was struggling with all her life. How she was struggling to make a way for me. I felt embarrassed, and I felt compassion for the first time. But that's where I come from. I don't come from a family that has businesses. I don't come from business owners or people that are self-employed. So when my wife and I, when we first started dating, we were just thinking, if I can just, get my teaching credentials and be a music teacher and make $30,000-$40,000 a year, that would be awesome. So like this whole concept of putting your name on a building, having a business, like I always wondered, like how do people do that? That seems like, and that just seems so far away, so disconnected. But seeing Alex and hearing Alex, for the first time I saw a path. I saw a path to something that I thought was impossible. And I saw for the first time of actually being possible, that is actually possible here with Alex, with Andy Albright, with the Alliance, with the NAA family, with the system. And I started dreaming. So some things that I really want to kind of maybe share with you, and I'm going to do my best to really kind of integrate a little bit of what I talked about last night with you guys today, within the constraints of this format. Without being, I really wish that I could be looking at you in the eyes right now and having this cup of coffee. Like I'm having my cup of coffee right now from the hotel, and I wish that we were sitting together where I can look at you in the eye, you can see my body language and see my eyes and know that what I'm telling you is coming from my spirit, from deep inside. And I want you to know this, that once you realize that there is a dream waiting for you, that there's a place that you're going to be able to go to that's far beyond just making the next rent payment, that there's something beyond that, there's something greater than that. I just want you to know, you got a fight coming. A fight is coming. A fight is brewing. Life, the enemy. See, the enemy is not in here on this conference call. The enemy is out there, and the enemy that we're going to face when we're chasing down a dream, when we're chasing down getting ourselves unstuck, getting to where we need to be, getting to the point to where we can live, where we don't work. How about this? Why don't you just love, for some of you on the phone, for one of you on the phone, wouldn't it be awesome that if your tire blew out today, see, for somebody, for one of you, your tire blowing out today would be like disastrous. It would be catastrophe. It would be, oh my God, how are we going to get that? I wasn't planning on this. Where's the money going to come from? See, wouldn't it be nice to be able to go from that to where having a tire blow out is just an inconvenience? Like, shoot. Well, that sucks. I gotta get the air. I gotta get the tow truck over here because I gotta go find the tire now. This is, like, wouldn't it be nice where it's just an inconvenience, not disastrous? So when you're trying to get from A to B, what's in between A and B, the enemy is out there, and the enemy is lurking, and you got a fight coming. And that fight is called frustration. And that fight is called, so you got frustration, you've got, there's another word, it's like it was just on the tip of my tongue. I'm going to stay with frustration until the word comes to me. But it's discouragement. There we go, discouragement. That's the word I'm thinking about. The enemy of frustration, the enemy of discouragement is coming. And what happens is we get this expectation of what we believe our results should be. And then the reality of what is actually the results. And in the in-between, your results and what you expected, your expectation, that equals frustration and disappointment and discouragement. So there's some things I want to help you with that right now. And it can be dealt with. It can be completely dealt with. And it's a very simple thing. Please write this down. Decisions are made in advance. Decisions are made in advance. I would love it. I mean, if we had all day to do another boot camp, I would love to be able to share some tips with you about production, about recruiting, about building, about overcoming objections, product knowledge. We could do all that. We could do all that skill set, that micro skill set training that could have an instant impact this week in income. But I believe that when we talk about behavior, we talk about how do we improve our behavior. That has a much more far-reaching impact than any one little tip I could ever give you on how to overcome an objection. Behavior. How do we modify our behavior? How do we control our behavior? Because it's so dang gone easy. You make a commitment to yourself. You make a commitment, and it was a great commitment. It was a great decision. I'm going to start watching what I eat. I'm going to start losing weight. It's a great, fantastic decision. Almost everybody on this call has made that decision at some point in time. You made the decision, I'm going to start eating less, and I'm going to start eating healthier, and I'm going to start working out. You have done it. Don't pretend like you haven't. You're like, tomorrow, you're like, and here's what it is. You're lying in your bed after you just had whatever you had, and the food is sitting in your stomach like a bag of rocks. You're like, oh man, I can't. It's hard to even sleep. Why did I do this to myself? Porque. I'm from Southern California. We blend some Spanish in with it. Porque. Why did I do this to myself? Tomorrow, I'm doing this thing right. I'm going to have some juice. And so we make this commitment. And we've got this very, very vague plan. And please write this one down next, because this one also, if decisions are made in advance, and we're gonna really get to some examples of it, this one also here can be massive for you. Vague intentions produce vague results, but specific intentions produce specific results. And the problem is that if I was to ask you, hey, are you being vague? Are you being specific? Everybody, 100%, you would say, I'm being specific. I'm lying in bed. I'm telling you, I'm going to start eating right. I'm going to have some green juice. I'm going to get up, and tomorrow I'm going to work out. Tomorrow I'm going to work out. Tomorrow I'm going to eat healthy. And you think that's specific, but the truth is, it's not. And then you wake up, you're rushing out the door, you're like, oh man, like I didn't, like, you rush out the door, you go into the field, and guess what, you get hungry. And you know how it is too. All the plans you had to eat healthy, to do right, all of a sudden you forget about that as you get hungry. And the hungrier you get, as your sugar starts to drop, you go, you know what? That McDonald's looked pretty good. You know what? How about this? I'm just going to go grab me the burger. Tomorrow I'm going to do this thing right. Am I the only one? Is anyone out there listening? I'm just, See, the reason why we're failing is because we're being vague. Specifically, though, here's the difference between vague and specific. Here's the difference between making decisions in advance. The night before, we pack our lunch. The night before. We don't wait till the day of. We don't wait for 2 minutes before we have to walk out the door. The night before, I go grab the jug, and I pour some green juice in there. And I put it into my cooler, and I stack that thing with some ice in there. I go put some vegetables. in some baggies, and I stuff it in there. So that way tomorrow when I go, I grab my lunch bill. See, this is what I'm going to eat tomorrow. I'm very specific. The decision has been made in advance. This is what I'm doing. Now, truth be told, you think it gets easier, and it is easier, but I'm driving down the road, and I'm getting hungry. I swear to you, I'm in Los Angeles the other week. I'm running business. I'm in Los Angeles. I got this big camo-looking lunch pail, like green juice in there. And I'm talking with agents, and I'm in between appointments, and I just need a place to park the car because I got some time to kill as I'm talking to agents, but I just need some shade. So I pull into a parking lot, and there is Carl's Jr. I think on the East Coast they call them Hardee's, but I got a Carl's Jr. right there, and I tell you, I love me a bacon Western cheeseburger. That is probably one of the most tastiest fast food burgers from Carl's Jr. from Hardee's. I'm sitting there, I'm going, that sounds so good. And I'm looking at this lunch pail going, I hate you, lunch pail. And I still kind of want to walk in, and I think to myself, it's there. It's right there. All you have to do is grab the green juice. Tell you what, here's the deal, Jason. Pick up the green juice. Drink the green juice. If you're still hungry, go in there and go get you a cheeseburger. Okay, I make the deal with myself, and I grab it like a kid, like, fine, give it to me. And I'm drinking my green juice. And by the time I'm done with my green juice, guess what? I'm not hungry, and I feel great. You feel great for several reasons. One, because actually it's a lot more nourishing than actually a cheeseburger. But I'm actually doing what I said I was going to do. Like you see after this call, well, we didn't learn very much, but he sure did teach us how to lose some weight, how to be healthier. What's the translation? Let's dig this out. Let's apply it. Let's apply it to. I mean, we can apply this. We can apply having specific intentions, producing specific results. We can apply making decisions in advance. We can apply it to every area of our life. Every area of your life, you can apply this. You can apply this. So I can tell you right now, like I just know, and I'm telling you, if you don't know this yet, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you're going to have clients not show up. You're going to get a me show, a no show, an I showed. You're going to get a one-legged appointment, and you're going to have to turn around. You're going to get some reschedules. And I tell you what, it's just amazing how it's amazing to me how everybody in a week can sometimes all go to the hospital at the same time. But it happens sometimes. What you thought was going to take place doesn't take place. Like I'm letting you know now, in advance, it's going to happen. You think you're going to have 6 appointments, and all of a sudden you got two cancellations. For some reason, it's going to happen. What are you going to do during that time? What are you going to do? See, before when I wasn't specific, when I was very vague, here's what I ended up doing: spending my time at McDonald's. When I started getting specific and making a decision in advance, you know what? It seems to me that every single week, I don't know who, but somebody's going to no-show me. Somebody's going to cancel. I don't know who, but it seems to be like every single week this tends to happen. And I notice that my weight keeps going up because I keep going to McDonald's. What can I do about this? And then I remembered being taught, take your leads with me. And I don't know if I scoffed at it. I went, yeah, sure, okay. And I just kind of ignored it. And then all of a sudden, as I'm thinking through this, I'm going, oh, that would be better. So then I had to make a decision in advance that I take my leads with me 100% of the time. 100% of the time, the leads are with me. Not just when I go on appointments, by the way. The leads are with me no matter where I go. Because sometimes you just don't know when you can sneak in 25 dials real quick. You just don't know when something goes, well, I'm waiting for somebody to show up. I got my leads with me. I might as well do something productive. See, I make a decision in advance. I take my leads with me. So that way when I have an unforeseen opening, well, actually, remember, it's a foreseen, it's really a foreseen, unforeseen opening. That I made a decision in advance that I'm doing something productive with my time. That I'm going to make some door knocks. That I'm going to do some phone calls. That decision is made in advance. See, team, listen to me. We can't control things. We can't control who's going to be there and who's not. We can't control who's going to be nice and who's going to be rude. We don't know who's going to be the lay-down opponent, the one that's going to make you work for it. You don't know who's going to be the one that's going to be completely rude and tosses you out of the house. You don't know the one that's going to be there talking your ear off for about 2.5 hours, and it makes a domino effect to the rest of your day. Like, you don't know if there's going to be a traffic accident that throws off your timetables. Like, there's so many things outside of the circle, outside of your control. And you have to learn to stop worrying about it, and you have to learn to be specific and make a decision in advance. See, I was also taught years ago by Andy, it's called transmutation. This negative thing happens. You go into an appointment, you get a no-sell. And now, believe me, I've been there. I've been at the feet of discouragement after going like 0 for 4. And then getting no-showed. Like, I've been at the feet of discouragement. Like, that discouragement, that frustration is negative energy waiting there to pounce on you. And you have to make this decision in advance that you're going to transmutate. You're going to take that negative energy and you're going to do something positive with it. You're going to do something positive with it. That you, like, when that happens to you, you're going to take that negative energy and you're going to do 5 more door knocks. You're going to take that negative energy and you say, you know what, I'm not going to think about that right now. I'm going to make 25 more phone calls. If you're getting beat up on the phones, I'm just going to make 25 more phone calls. There's nothing that 25 more phone calls can't fix. There's nothing that 5 more door knocks can't fix. I remember I made a decision in advance, Alex, that I was going to work. I was going to be in the field on Thursday. Yeah, it was all set up. I had every single appointment. I put open for appointment. I had every slot on my calendar picked out. When I was going to see people, all I was waiting for was a name to go into the calendar. And I booked no appointments. You know, and by the way, this wasn't like when I first got started, by the way. No, it been like this was maybe like 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. So I've been here for, you know, like 6 years. I mean, I know how to make some phone calls. I know how to book some appointments. I can overcome objections. No appointments. No appointments. But I got all these open slots that I said I was going to go run appointments on these times. I'm just missing a name. Negative, discouragement, frustration, this negative energy. You have to do something with it. So I said to myself, well, I said I was going to be in the field. I said I was going to be there. So dang it, I'm going to be in the field. I took my leads. I threw it in there. You know, I mean, at that time, I used MapQuest has this one feature where you can load a whole bunch of addresses in it, and it will reconfigure in the most economical way possible to the shortest route possible to hit all these people. So I put it in there. These days I use an app called Road Warrior. It's an app that I use to when I'm doing my door knocks to make sure that I'm reorganizing all my door knocks in a way that makes sense. I go, all right, so I went out there in Los Angeles, and I'm not talking about the Beverly Hills. I'm not talking about like Malibu with palm trees. No, I'm in the hood. I'm going to Crenshaw. I'm going to the areas of LA riots. Like this is where I'm going to do my door knocks. I got 25 of them. Because I said I was going to be in the field. Frustration hit me because my results did not match up with my expectation. Negativity setting in, and I said, you know what? The heck with that. I'm going to put off my feelings for a moment, and I'm going to transmutate. I'm going to take that energy, and I'm going to do some door knocks around. In fact, I'm going to door knock all day long. And I wake up and you think, but it's okay because it's Los Angeles. The sun will be shining. It's going to be a nice, beautiful day. No, it's actually raining. Like, and it hardly ever rains in Southern California, but it's raining. I'm like, Go figure. It is what it is. Let's get in the car. You said you were going to be in appointments at these times, so let's go do it. And I started door knocking. House after house after house after house after house. I'm leaving that door knock sticky, and I get a call back. I book an appointment for the very next day. It's the only positive thing that, besides the activity, me transmutating was really the positive action. But something good comes from it. I get a call back. I book an appointment for the next day. And I'm sitting down, and she's 78 years old. And she goes, so let me just stop you right there. I need $700,000. I go, yeah, you could do that, but that's going to be like $2,300. I just threw that number out there. She goes, yeah, I can afford that. I went, what? She goes, yeah. I go, what do you do again? She's like, you know, I have apartment complexes. I got my own business. I help people with immigration. I got a house in Portugal. I kid you, I wrote an annual, like a $30,000 annualized premium. That's the power of transmutating. That's the power of making a decision in advance. That's the power that specific intentions produce specific results. That's the power that when negative is coming at you, when life is throwing some punches, when discouragement and frustration are coming at you, that's the power that making these decisions in advance can have. You just say, I don't know about that, but here's what I know. This is what I could do. And what have we really been talking about really the entire time? We've really been just talking about the very first, I think, the second step of the 8 steps, which is work. Work is the second step of the 8 steps, is work. Is just going to work, doing the activity, making the decision in advance that this is what I'm going to do. It's kind of like pick up the check or pick up the phone. That's a decision you make in advance. When you walk out with a no sell, you make a decision in advance that I'm not going to go hide underneath the rock. Because this will kill you, by the way. Have you ever, let me explain it to you this way. Here, I know some people don't like scary movies, and it's been I was a kid since the last time I watched my last scary movie. My mom used to love scary movies, so we watched it all the time when I was a kid. And here's something that I learned early on. You ever notice it's always the person who gets separated from the group, that's the person that gets killed? And when you see him separate from the group, you're like, no, don't do it. He's right there. He come get you. Stay with the group. What are you doing? You're an idiot. And you're talking at him like he can hear you. It's like, dude, there's only one person that ever makes it out alive. And none of us are as cute as Jamie Lee Curtis, so stop doing it. Stop going in isolation. And what happens is you're going off in isolation. And nothing good happens in isolation. You get frustrated. You get discouraged. Your results aren't in alignment with what you expected to happen. You get a no-sell, and instead of getting tight with Alex, tight with the group, you go off in isolation, and all of us, the leaders, were looking at you going, no, don't do it. It's like you're yelling at the movie screen, he's going to get you. The axe murderer is coming for you. Michael's coming for you. Discouragement's coming for you. Don't go. Oh, you guys are picking up. I'm a little on the goofy side. I apologize now. But I'm begging with you, don't go. You've got to make a decision in advance that you're going to communicate. You have to make a decision in advance. You've got to make a decision right now. You have to make a decision right now. When you feel negativity coming in, when your results aren't coming in alignment with your expectation, that you're going to pick up that phone. When you get at that appointment, and you have that no-sell, you're going to pick up that phone, and you're going to call Alex, and you're going to communicate with a positive mental attitude, and you're going to say, Alex, help me. This is what I dealt with. Help me get through it. What could I have done differently? Alex, my phone, I had 4 or 5 people give me this objection. How could I deal with it differently? Come with your hands open. Don't go hiding underneath a rock. Don't go in isolation. Don't make yourself vulnerable to the axe murderer called discouragement and frustration. He's out there waiting for you to separate from the group. Get plugged in tight. And you know what? I'm pretty sure that's another 8 steps, isn't it? Communicate. Step number 8, communicate with a positive mental attitude. Decisions are made in advance. You make a decision in advance that you're going to attend all meetings, because guess what? When you get around your friends again, stop going in isolation. Stop hiding underneath the rock. You're going to get killed out there. Come inside where it's warm. Come be with the group. Get fed from Alex at the meeting. Get fed from Andy Albright. Get fed by Karen if you're in the Minneapolis meeting. Go to the hotspot and get fed. Get encouragement. Sharpen the axe. Sharpen the sword. Make a decision in advance that if you have choices, see, some people on the phone, you may not have a choice because you work full-time. So you can't attend every single meeting. You can't be on every single conference call because you are working and you got to go to work. We're not telling you not go to work, so we're not worried. Like, I'm never worried about what I cannot do. I'm never worried about what you cannot do. We're only worried about what can we do, what can we control, what's inside the circle. So if you don't have a choice, you just don't have a choice. But if you have a choice, make a choice to run business or make phone calls at a different time. So that way you can spend time coming in with the group to get warm. On my calendar, I make a decision in advance that TWC is at the same time every single week. And it always blows me away when I go, hey man, did you get a chance to catch Andy Albright? Hey, did you get a chance to hear Jasmine Liborn on that door knocking on Thursday call? Hey, did you get a chance to hear Alex Abuyuan at 10 o'clock? Did you hear what he said? And they go, oh man, I was running an appointment. And you're like, what? Well, yeah, you know how it is. I was running an appointment. You know how it is. And you're like, you want to be like, seriously? Are you telling me that the only time that client can meet you, the only possible time that client can meet you was at 10 o'clock on Thursday? Wow, I've never met a client where the only, and don't get me wrong, actually probably has happened, but it's like 1%. I mean, you tell me they couldn't meet you at 9, they couldn't meet you at 11, it had to be 10 o'clock? Come on, bro. I mean, could you imagine for a moment if the leaders treated you the way that some people treat us? Say that. Could you imagine for a moment, Alex has this conference call planned out Thursday at 10 o'clock, and all of a sudden you get onto the conference call, ready to be fed, and all of a sudden you get a text, and you're looking around going, where's Alex? It's like 10:05, it's 10:20, like a teacher in college who doesn't show up to the class. You're like looking around like, are they coming? I'm like, what's going on? And then when you call him up, you go, hey man, hey Alex, we got a conference call, right? And he goes, hey man, you know how it is, I had an appointment, had a client, sorry. And you're like, what? Seriously? You called this conference call and you telling me that you got a what? Like, could you imagine for a moment Andy Albright doing that? Could you imagine? We wouldn't have a company. We wouldn't have this culture. We wouldn't have this leadership if it wasn't for the men and the women, the leaders, taking a stand, making a decision in advance that, hey, listen, this means something to us. These 8 steps mean something to us. These core values, they mean something to us. These values coming out into the light of day, it means something to us. This is how we're going to live our life. This is the decision that I'm making in advance that I am following Alex. I'm making a decision in advance that I'm following Andy Albright. My decision has been made in advance that, guess what? When the convention comes up and says, hey, we got a convention coming up, the moment registration opens, I made my decision in advance way back in 2006 that I'm never going to miss another major event. So I don't have to spend time deliberating over a decision. I can move so much faster because I make a decision in advance that this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sign up for a major event when the day the registration opens. I don't know who's going to watch the kids. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I know that I'm buying my ticket. And again, this concept, as I come to a close, you can take it and you can apply it everywhere. You can apply it to your recruiting, to building. You can apply it with your family. You can apply it with your spouse. Make a decision in advance. What are you going to do? Like when I come in, I want to end with this. When I come home, when I come home from being in the field, the life, I feel like you're like when you're lying in bed and you're going, should I take a shower? And then you just feel that stickiness, that sweat just covering your body going, oh man, you can feel the filth just all over you. And guess what? When we come home from work, when we come home from being in the field, when we come home from talking and pouring into agents, and it feels like we're getting nowhere, and we have frustration and discouragement all over us, and it's just sticky all over us. When we walk through that door, how are we going to act with our family? Do we just sit there, hey, listen, I can't talk to you guys right now. I got to sit down in front of the TV, and you turn it off. See, when I pull up, no matter what day I'm having, I say to myself, I make a decision in advance. How am I going to act when I walk through this door? I'm going to put, and I talk to myself, Jason, you're going to put the day behind you. You're going to put a big smile on your face because they've been waiting to see you. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to walk in there and you're going to give your wife a big hug and a big kiss and a big warm smile. You're going to reach down and you're going to pick your daughters up. You're going to hug them. And you're going to ask them how their day was and listen to them. This is what you're going to do. And you're going to put the day, the sweat of the day behind you. And you're going to focus on them. Vague intentions produce vague results, but specific intentions produce specific results. Decisions are made in advance. And this is one of the things I've seen with Andy Albright and with Alex, that they make decisions in advance, and they are extremely focused, which is why they're at where they're at, and which is why I follow Alex and I follow Andy. Because I want to go where they're going. Alex, man, it's been I can't tell you what kind of honor it's been for me to be able to serve your team, how humbled I am to be able to give back to what you've been able to give to me all these years.
Well, dude, that was awesome. Man, I appreciate you, dude. You did an incredible job as usual. I appreciate everything you said about me. It humbles me. We're chasing, we're chasing you. We're chasing your momentum, and being around you helps me focus more on exactly what I want. So, man, I came to learn from you as well as watch you do your thing on the team, and I learned a lot from it myself, and it helped me. So I want you to know that you're very timely in where my head's at and what I need to do, in terms of remaining focused, amping up my focus, and really narrowing it down like a sniper bullseye as far as exactly what I want to accomplish in my life, the impact I want to make on this world. And, man, I appreciate you being part of that, part of this journey with me. Man, I love you and Tawny. Can't wait to see you guys in October. Let's just throw one last thing out for you. For people that are kind of on the fence about going to National Conference in January out in Burlington, because National Conference will be in Burlington, North Carolina at the headquarters in Prosperity Hall, and it's going to be rocking. It's the first time we've had it there. Why would it be important for someone to come check that out?
Again, Alex, I wouldn't be here. It's amazing how almost everyone who's on the phone, you see how Alex lives. You hear about the results. You hear about the income. You hear about the dreams. You hear about the trips that we take, and you want the kind of life that we have for yourself. And I'm telling you, had I not gone to my very first event, I can't tell you that if I would be here or not. Because, again, if you're on the fence, maybe the alliance, the culture, the family, it's not real for you yet. But when you're sitting there, when I was sitting there hearing those stories, and then when I went, I remember going to my, some summer conference and then the national convention in January. When I went to my first January national convention, I'm there again with 1,500 other people, going through the same emotion, like getting warm with the group, not in isolation. And I'm just learning. So not only do I get to see Andy's heart and see Andy's vision, but at the same time, I'm also learning specific techniques too that I'm able to take back. Like I'm finding people. I mean, there's still things today that I teach, and people think that I came up with it, but I really learned it in national convention. Like sometimes people, maybe you've heard me, give training and teaching on how I wave at the house when I get out of the car. And people think that I came up with it, but I didn't. I learned that at a national convention. There's so many things that I learned, so many specific techniques that I learned in production, specific techniques I learned in recruiting, in building, that I would not have learned had I not have gone. So how could I even possibly hope, fathom, to even think that I could create something this big on my own in the amount of time that I've been able to do it without the help of NAA, without the help of the Alliance of National Convention. So you have the specific techniques, and then there's something else. And it's called the relationships. It's the relationships. And like techniques, you got to be able to develop the relationships so that way they're there for you when you need them. Because when you need them is not the time to develop them. It's already too late. So when you're at National Convention, you're able to go and meet Darwin Herm and meet his team at Foresters. And you're able to meet Brent Bench and his team at Mutual of Omaha. And you're able to meet Todd Swinson over at CFG. You're able to meet these and start to develop a relationship with them. So that way when your promotion is hanging in the balance of one application on the last day, because you've been going, not to just one, but to every single major, and every time you maintain and you further to develop and drive depth within your relationship, you can send off an email, and guess what? They want to help you get that one application approved that's hanging your promotion in the balance. Where Hawaii is hanging in the balance. And because of that relationship, they're able to make a phone call and get, and have your application get put to the top of the pile. Through the relationships that you make with the leaders, the other people that are in life where you want to be, it gives you the ability to tie into them at different times outside. But how could you ever hope to develop a relationship with the people that you are looking to copy? How are you ever going to learn the knowledge that you need to go out there and help a family better, to up your close ratio, to put more money in the bank? How you really hope to be able to catch the vision and the dream and the mission and where we're going if you don't go? If you don't go, you don't grow. I'm just chasing Andy. So I'm going to be there in National Convention, and I can't wait to see you there, and I can't wait to shake your hand and be able to talk with you and share with you and answer any questions you have in any way I can be able to help you.
Dude, that was awesome, man. I appreciate you, bro. And, man, I hope you have a safe trip. I know our team appreciates you. Gang, text me, and I'll pass on text to Jason how this call helped you and maybe impacted you. We all love to hear kind of that gratitude. Gratitude is one of our values. So text me, and I'll pass it on to Jason. And, man, appreciate you, Jason. Take care. God bless, man. Have a great trip back, okay?
God bless.